Back in 2016, I embarked on a mission to build a bike for the summer with no knowledge, no workshop, and only the most basic of tools. A build that started in my living room that turned into a journey that would change my life. And today, we revisit this bike build and approach it with the tools and knowledge that we now have. Some viewers may remember this bike. It got a lot of attention back in the day. You saw all the effort I put into it and all the problems we had to figure out along the way. We saw many highs and saw some big lows.
They stole all my tools.
And today we're going to go over everything and see what we can improve on and what's actually been going on with this little machine. So this bike has been basically sitting in the corner of the room for the last few years, tucked away, basically just not being used. And like any mechanical thing, they don't like to sit there, they like to be used. So my negligence has led this thing to go a bit rotten. When I say rotten, I mean things like this. This has started to leak and fail, and it's just losing all its paint. There's chips here on the headlight, which doesn't really ideal. Even things like this indicator here being broken just because of moving it around and knocking it and stuff like that. And obviously it is very, very dusty. But that's why I've decided to revisit this build to see what we can do better this time, to sort out any little problems that have happened since owning this bike, and just to do a much better job this time, because now we're in a workshop where I have the tools I need to do this, and I'm not doing this in my living room. It's nice just to be able to crack on, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to strip this thing down, and we're going to take it from there and just go over bit by bit and rebuild it back up into a much nicer and updated and a more modern build. So if you like the sound of that, make sure you subscribe and let's continue. But before we start taking this thing apart, I want to go over everything and just talk about the things we're going to do to this bike. So the first thing I want to revisit is this seat hump here. It's made of like 90% body filler, a lot of fiberglass, and it's pretty heavy. So I want to make a lighter part, a part that I can actually separate from the seat itself, because I had it painted then upholstered, so it makes it very difficult to repaint it, and just make it more friendly to work on and replace things and things that I didn't really think about when I was starting this build. We'll be replacing this shock with a slightly longer one because this one actually has now collapsed, and when you sit on it, it pretty much bottoms out instantly. We'll be doing loads of things to make this bike look nice again, new powder coat, fresh parts, brake pads, service, or fork seals, you name it. We're going to make this bike really functional once more. And not only that, we're going to make it look cool as well. Doing things on a bike that's not been done on a bike like this. And ultimately, making a bike I can enjoy again, because I loved this thing. I loved riding this thing around, and next summer, this thing is going to be my bike of choice. Some of you may like it, some of you may hate it, but we'll find out. So we are down to literally engine and frame, and I've forgotten how light this thing is. There's a few things I found along the way. Things like this sticker I put in, I completely forgot about. And I forgot to mention the stand that has always bothered me because it's always been too short. But I gotta say, everything's held up pretty damn well. All the bolts I used originally, they're still going strong. I used stainless steel nuts and bolts before, so I didn't expect them to corrode, but they're all looking pretty good. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of things that do need attention. There's little bits of pitting and rusting and stuff like that, even on the frame. So I'm looking forward to taking some of the frame back, redoing some of the welding, because my welding back then was not very good. But I'm looking forward to freshening it all up, starting again and actually incorporating some of the new things that we're going to be putting on this bike. So starting with the electrics, we're going to be adding this system in. So we're going to be putting in this X21 Value S from MWT. That was kindly supplied by Kilted Bushido Builds and the NWT Europe division. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually working on this bike, is because they gave me the idea of giving it a complete refresh, because it's one of those things I was never really happy with and I had so many problems along the way. So it's nice to jump in again with all the knowledge I have now. I'm a little bit better with electrics this time, so it should just all round be a lot neater and just be a little bit more user friendly. I have some new tyres as well, and I'll be doing something quite fun with the wheels, so stay tuned for that. As I say, new paint, so I've got an idea what I want to go with, and I'm going to try and stylize this a little bit more, so it is going to be a very unique bike on top of the uniqueness of it already. Honestly, I'm going to try and make this bike the best it can be. So I do look forward to having a play with some paints, colour schemes, and let me know what you think, if there's any kind of colour ideas that you think will work. I say, we're going to revamp all the seat, the tank needs to be sorted, the seat hump, even the foot pegs. There's so much we need to look into, but as we go through the build, we'll get there bit by bit. So let's get the engine out, get this fully stripped down, and let the fun begin. Off. So guys, that is it for this episode. I know it's only a short and sweet, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you like the direction this new series is going and actually revisiting the Cb125, just because I know it's a big fan favourite, and I know not everyone's going to enjoy what I'm going to do to this bike, but let's see what happens and let's see what you think. Anyway, if you like what you see, drop a like down below. Join us on Patreon if you want early access. I'm in the process of setting up a merch store, dropping some new clothing, some stickers, that sort of thing. So hopefully that'll be ready soon. And as always, thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Peace.